Welcome to the Tech and Ed Podcast, the only podcast to cover the geek side of ed tech. Welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us again, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tamer, and with me we have my co-host, Mo. And welcome to episode 3. This is going to be on the good old Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But before...
Excited.
What's that?
I'm excited.
You excited?
I'm excited.
Don't get too excited, because first, before we get into the Wi-Fi, we have to get into our weekly updates. So, give me a rundown. What did you do this week?
So, something interesting I did this week, I actually met with an IoT company that started to come out, started taking a look at our boiler rooms, boiler systems, also our data center.
I did the same thing.
Did you?
No.
And they started taking a look at all the different systems that we have to find a way of how they can put it into a dashboard and start, doing some cool things.
Nice.
How about you?
To be honest with you, it was a slow week for me. Not too much tech heavy. This was one of those weeks where it was more, business side kind of heavy. Just getting organized, getting ready for testing season.
Yeah.
So getting all that stuff organized, doing some budgeting stuff. We had some interns that started by me last week, so that was nice to just get them in and kind of get them, used.
That's a quick note. Make sure you look out for interns. A lot of colleges, a lot of different schools, companies, the technical schools are always looking for kids. If you and your department have some work to do, make sure you look at some, different schools or colleges that are offering internship services and tell them to come by.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we've been doing it for a while, not to get too into it, but we've been doing it for a while, and, we find them very helpful. They come in. Well, my problem is, we have a program where we get some of the high school kids involved and stuff like that, but it's very difficult for us to give them more work beyond the general scope, because we can't give them passwords and admin access and access to things that just a student shouldn't have access to, right? So having interns that are coming in from college, they make a good addition to the department, helping us, and they gain a lot of experience. We were very light with the program in terms of we leave it up to them to make their schedule and kind of come in when they want, but at the same time, we make sure that they're getting some good experience out of us, and we're getting some good old help from them.
For free.
Yeah, for free.
Is the price for me.
Yeah. Okay, so that being said, let's go into our news articles. I actually did not have an opportunity to research a news article this week. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this was Tamer Lazy Week, so I did not actually have an article. I did read a few articles throughout the week. I'm always reading articles, but there was just nothing that I was like, I really want to talk about this. You know what I mean? So I didn't read any news articles. I will give you guys a little announcement. I did get the new S20 Ultra. I didn't get it. This isn't it. Relax. But I did order the new S20 Ultra. They say Apple fanboys and whatever. I'm a Samsung fanboy. I love my Galaxies. So I have that on pre-order. So it'll be nice when that comes in.
Yeah, we'll do a little thing on the show about it. I'm sure a lot of people are excited to see it.
Yeah, I'll definitely. I could, trust me, I've been reading nonstop about that. I could go on for hours about that, but I'm not gonna get too into it now. When I actually get the phone, I'll give you guys a little rundown of some of the cool.
How many
features.
cameras does it have?
78. No, I think it has 5 cameras.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's a nice phone. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
How about you? What do you got for us in the news?
Big news in many industries, specifically tech industries, since this is a tech podcast, is the coronavirus. And
oh, sorry.
Podcast over. Is the coronavirus and how it's affecting a lot of the companies. The article I have is from Tech Republic, and the writer is Tina Maddox. And she has this article where Amazon, Nike, Google, EY have basically put a ban on any travel in for their company. So really, travel should only be done in must-need scenarios, and to just kind of stop traveling if it's unnecessary. just as this is, thousands and thousands of employees. Just imagine how many people are traveling for Amazon
Yeah.
or Google, Nike. I believe if you read the article, one of those big companies shut down one of their offices in Oregon and are doing a deep clean.
Yeah.
And this is just a couple of the big companies that are being affected by it. But this is also going to affect us as schools, right? So any electronic equipment that you're trying to purchase beyond just computers, start learning and understanding when those are going to start happening and if your orders will be delayed. I've talked to a number of people, talked to a number of vendors, and everyone keeps saying, hey, take a look out. There's also an Intel chip shortage. So if you're looking to purchase things over the summer, try to purchase them as soon as you can. So that was just my article as far as coronavirus and how it's starting to affect multiple industries and how it will affect schools. So definitely start to look out for
Delays.
any delays.
Delays.
Yeah.
Don't mind me. I'm just getting my charger for my laptop. I'm just really prepared for this podcast today. I got my news article all set. I had a really great weekly update. I had my laptop fully charged. You guys are getting like an A+ host here, man.
He's gonna tell me to plug it in.
Yeah, I am gonna tell him to plug it in because you guys can't see it on camera, but all the power is coming from his side for this thing. I got no power by me. I'm just in charge of the mics. How's it sound? That's pretty good, right?
Very good.
Right. Mo, would you mind plugging that in for me?
Sure.
Thank you. All right, so while I'm getting my laptop plugged in here, or while Mo's getting my laptop plugged in here, awesome, I'm good, thank you. Let's get into what we want to talk about here today. Wi-Fi. It's huge, right? Because, and I feel like every time we talk about a subject, we're like, yeah, this is really important. This is really important. This is really important. But we're in the age where mobile devices and portable devices are reigning supreme. So Wi-Fi, how are they getting connected to the internet? And the new standard Wi-Fi 6, I know everyone's like, well, what's this Wi-Fi 6? What's that? What is that? So just really quickly to kind of just introduce it, Wi-Fi 6 is literally just the next generation of Wi-Fi. So if you've been listening, or following rather, all the Wi-Fi over the years, you've heard of 802.11n, 802.11b, G, all these different standards that came out. I think it goes B, G, N.
I don't know. I only
AC,
care about Wi-Fi 6.
AC.
No.
Okay, well, Wi-Fi 6 is really 802.11ax, right?
Yeah.
But
Right behind AC.
What's that? Yeah, the next gen up after AC. So, really, they just rebranded it. They kind of made it easier for the end users to kind of keep track of all the different generations. So that's why Wi-Fi 6 is literally just the next gen. But it's more than just speed enhancements, right? I think we've been seeing a consistent flow of speed enhancements throughout the generations. Whether you were talking about 802.11n or AC, or like I said, now we're at 802.11ax. It's way more than just speed enhancements. So, what do you know about it?
So, obviously, with the new generation, it comes with the new speed, which is fantastic, right? You kind of expect faster speed. So I think in like perfect conditions, people are getting between 600 to over a gig. That's a Wi-Fi connection, right?
That's crazy. Just like pause and think about that for a second. Your Wi-Fi, like what you are wirelessly getting speeds that are comparable to having your device plugged in.
Yeah.
Like that, we're approaching that point where devices that are being plugged in are now, their speeds are matching devices that are wireless. So that's crazy.
For a school, in my opinion, for a school, I think that's huge because a battle that I've always had to face in many districts, not just the one I'm currently in, is, we don't have a plug here. We don't have a plug here. We don't have a plug here. Mm-hmm. Well, if Wi-Fi is going to get that strong, why even run any cables? The only cables you really need are to your MDF, IDFs, and to access points, and then run everything off of Wi-Fi. I mean, obviously that's going to take time and a lot of research before you get there, but I can see us at some point
We're getting there.
not even having to run cables to anything other than managed devices on your network.
So not to get too. I mean, I could talk for hours and hours and hours about technical jargon, and I could really get into the the nitty gritty of it. But I think what's important is so Wi-Fi 6 is faster, right? Which is expected, but it's more than that in the sense that it is future proof, because now we're taking advantage of not just faster speeds but better control of the data to really have a good grasp and handle on those speeds, right? So one of the big things is we're at 8x8 multi-user multi-out MIMO. 8x8, that's crazy, and that's just the standard, right? I know that.
What does that mean? What does the 8x8 MIMO mean?
So you have 8 antennas on the access point on the actual wireless device that's sending out wireless signal. You have 8 antennas dedicated to just sending data, and 8 antennas dedicated to just receiving data. And that's not to say that you can only have 8 clients, right? You can have, again, it's multi-user, so multiple clients, but it can talk to 8 clients, send data out to 8 clients while receiving data from 8 clients, and then send data out to another 8 clients while receiving. And this is happening microseconds, every microsecond. So you're talking right there, the ability to just support a much greater capacity, more clients talking and being able to transmit and receive data at the same time. That's huge.
So that was one of the main points of Wi-Fi 6 is in congested areas, it can really handle that load.
Yes.
And I don't know about everyone else out there. I have a number of devices connecting to each access point that's in every classroom. So we have an access point in, all the major areas, and then every classroom has an access point. But, you think about it now, every kid's got a Chromebook.
Yeah.
Right? Every, the teacher's got a laptop or a Chromebook or some device.
Yep.
And then if there's anyone else in the area that's connecting their laptop or Chromebook or phones, depending on your scenario.
Right.
So at any point, you can have 30 plus devices connected to an access point. Now, Wi-Fi 5 or the previous generations had a 3x3 MIMO antenna, or if you opted for the more expensive access points, they only went up to 4x4 MIMO antenna. So this is like doubling your capacity to talk to clients. But the big thing is the being able to handle the support of congested areas, which is, sometimes I'll kind of hear, maybe when the bell rings, things start going crazy, or when there's a lot of movement throughout the network, or if everyone joins the access point all at the same time, it can kind of just freeze at once. And this is alleviating a problem that really we didn't have a solution for. Just kind of saying, well, what did you expect when 30, 40 kids connected to one access point all at the same time? It's going to take a second to catch up.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely going to benefit those congested areas. And if you even if you do things like, and I don't know that necessarily how many schools are doing this, but if you have scenarios where maybe you have 100 kids, 120 kids come into the auditorium with their Chromebook to do something.
Sure.
You're talking about that. That's a need for a big capacity. Or maybe you're running a workshop in the cafeteria. You're running a class meeting in the cafeteria. All these kids are coming with their devices and whatever. But now let's bring it back to the classroom, right? You said every kid has a Chromebook, but it's more than that, right? Like if you're really pushing that envelope and you have a BYOD network out there, these kids are coming in now. Me personally, I have my smartwatch, I have my cell phone, I have my laptop, I probably have some other device, whether it's my iPad or my Chromebook on me. So, just me walking in and out of a classroom, I have 5 devices. I do. That are all connected to the Wi-Fi. So now you have, what's your average class size? 25 kids, 25, 50, 75, 100, and you could have easily up to 120 devices, 130 devices on a single access point. So that 8x8 multi-user, multi-in, multi-out, big advancement. And
specifically for, in my opinion, schools and classrooms.
Yeah.
That's always been an issue. But on the flip side, that means you can't, once these access points start becoming more streamlined or mainstreamed into sales and start showing up in schools, you also can't run some Mickey Mouse switches either. The switches need to be able to support the capacity as well.
Absolutely.
So if you have some Mickey Mouse switches that just don't have the switching. Wait, why are you laughing at my Mickey Mouse?
I just want to see a Disney Switch. What was that? It's a Mickey Mouse.
That's just expression or a saying that we used to do. A long time ago when we would go into school or an environment and it was,
it was Mickey Mouse.
It was Mickey Mouse. It was a joke.
It was a joke. I got you.
And so you can't be running any Mickey Mouse switches. You have to have switches with some real switching capacity on there that can handle all of that throughput.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't plug a Wi-Fi 6 access point into a 10 meg Ethernet plug there and expect multi-gigabit connections there. But the technology advancements on just the multi-users. So I'm thinking about this. Is just coming to me now. We used when we're talking about Wi-Fi design, right? The model used to be put access points in the hallways.
Oh,
you get coverage.
Back in the day.
You'd get coverage, right? You got to get coverage. So put access points all over the hallways, all over the problem was, as more devices started getting on the network, and we have students with Chromebooks and all these things. Our problem isn't coverage, it's density. So we put a Wi-Fi access point in every classroom. Do we need to put a Wi-Fi access point in every classroom with Wi-Fi 6? Do we need to put? Can we go back to the hallway model? Do we do every other classroom?
That's a really interesting question.
They're more expensive access points, but do we need to go in every room now that we have this multi-user 8x8 MIMO antenna?
Wow. You just threw a curveball. I didn't even think about that. Is that a possibility to go back to a hallway model? I mean, I remember the hallway model, right? It was, we get Wi-Fi in every room. It wasn't too expensive. The wiring was super easy because you're most likely going down long hallways.
Yeah. And dropping off.
Exactly. I think the one issue with the hallway, in my opinion, is some schools are built like a brick, literally. And they have walls on walls on walls.
Yes.
And you're trying to get an antenna or a Wi-Fi signal through
two layers of brick and concrete.
And
steel.
Plaster, maybe some drywall, and they might have that metal mesh in between, and you stand out in the hallway, you got a fantastic signal. Once you step in the classroom, it's just kind of like a Faraday cage.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, again, I'm not saying that is the best way to go. Just I'm curious. I'm curious how that would work. If you could do that to save some money, our budgets are always tight. It's just a thought. I'm not saying do that. I think I'm an all-in guy. Let's put one in every classroom. But for those school districts that maybe looking to save a little. Maybe I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't even have a Wi-Fi 6 access point yet myself. I think I'm gonna order one or two just to put in my office and
testing purposes.
For testing purposes. But I'm curious if that's any better, because one of the other enhancements with Wi-Fi 6 is better band steering. So instead of the access point just spitting out a wireless signal in any direction, that wireless access point is cognizant of where
the band, okay,
where the wireless device that's receiving and that it needs to communicate with is physically located, and it kind of steers the wireless signal in that direction, right? Hence the phrase band steering.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah, getting there.
Yeah, getting there. Sorry. So that's better in the Wi-Fi 6. So I'm wondering if that's if that with the multi-user will help I don't know. Another really important notable enhancement in Wi-Fi 6, and this adds to the help with congested areas and multiple devices, is the ability to have one payload serve multiple clients. So what does that mean? I could get very technical and what's a payload and all that stuff, but this is a technology that's in Wi-Fi 6. It's coined as OFDMA, which stands for some really fancy technical jargon. But basically what it is we're saying 8x8 multi-user MIMO. So imagine a 8-lane highway, right? And we have eight cars driving down the highway. Well, now imagine every single one of those cars is a Uber pool. Okay, so each car is a payload of data, and you have 8 lanes to send out data, and each one of those cars is an Uber pool. So hey, here's a pool, here's a payload of data. I'm gonna drop off Mo's data to him, and I'm gonna drop off Tamer's data to him, and I'm gonna drop off Steve's data to him. You have that as well. So that adds to the ability to serve the congested areas.
So it can order Uber pools for you?
No, it can't order an Uber pool for you, but it can definitely make the process a lot quicker. It can definitely make the process a lot quicker. What else do we have with Wi-Fi 6?
Just a couple other things. I mean, listen, there's a bunch of...
Yeah, there's so many. I'm just trying to think, what else do we have with Wi-Fi 6?
There's a bunch of videos out there, a bunch of articles. Go take a look if you're interested. I think the only other notable thing that we'll just talk about real quick here is the target wake-up times that come with Wi-Fi 6. And this is specifically for your IoT devices. So if you're not really running any IoT devices, which I know has been kind of a controversy in a school, so you may or may not have them, or if it does come down the road, target wake-up times right now, basically your IoT device will randomly or constantly ask the access point if it has any data for it. In Wi-Fi 6, it has target wake-up times where it tells the device specifically what time it should be coming and asking for any information. So it's just kind of organizing the Wi-Fi band and what the access point is doing with the signal at all times.
Yeah.
But again, IoT is one of those controversial things in schools, so I'm not sure if that's a thing.
But even with the target wake up times, you're talking to so real quick, we're talking about the ability for the access point to now have control of when the device is going to send and receive data, right? And to say to the device, hey, take a break. I'm not going to send you data for the next, let's just say, for this example, I'm not going to send you data for the next 3 minutes. So you can turn off your Wi-Fi chip for the next 3 minutes. But in 3 minutes, I'm going to be sending you data, so turn back on. And then that you're talking about battery consumption savings,
sure,
there, right? So
sure.
even on down the road, if you're giving your students Chromebooks or iPads or whatever one-to-one device you're going with, if it's Wi-Fi 6 compatible, right, the access point is going to be able to turn off the need for that device to constantly be listening and communicating in and out for this management traffic, and really control that in the sense of being able to reduce the consumption because of the battery, because it's able to say, hey, take a break, and the device is able to confidently say, okay, I'm turning off until I'm ready to, I know that more data is coming.
Smarter access points, more clients, more data. It's getting better.
Yes, it is getting better.
And so we'll go right into our topic today, which is Wi-Fi for schools.
Okay. So,
why did you have something you wanted to bring up?
No, No, I was just like, what's our topic?
Was that a bad segue?
Is there a new topic? I didn't even know what's the topic. Did I read the show notes right?
It's okay, folks. We're working on our segues.
No, it's okay. No, you're right. Wi-Fi in schools.
Wi-Fi in schools.
So all this talk about Wi-Fi, all this talk about before we get like into what it means in schools. Do schools go Wi-Fi 6? Do you think today, do you go Wi-Fi 6?
Right now?
Yeah.
I don't think it's completely out there yet.
So you're saying no?
I don't think that it's going to be cheap enough for me to be able to order.
Okay. Budgeting aside, do you go Wi-Fi 6?
If I had all the money in the world?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's my point. Okay. I think we're on the same page.
But then I would also need to replace the devices. Because not every device is Wi-Fi 6 enabled.
That's true. That's true. But remember that Wi-Fi 6 is backwards compatible.
Yeah, but that means you're only going to be as fast as Wi-Fi 5.
Of course, of course. But again, it's all about putting that infrastructure in place for what's coming down the pipeline, right?
That's like putting brand new rims on a broken car.
No, it's like paving the highway before you build a car to drive down it.
Okay. Sure. I don't know.
No? You don't know?
No, I get what you're saying. I just until more devices are readily available with Wi-Fi 6 and it's more streamlined in the market, I don't think it's something that I would purchase until it's really out there.
Okay. Okay. I was curious. We're not doing Wi-Fi 6 yet by me. I'm not saying we're not gonna do it. I'm not saying we are gonna do it. I'm not sure yet myself, but it's definitely something to consider. So Wi-Fi in schools then.
Wi-Fi in school.
Wi-Fi in schools. There's hundreds of things that we could talk about. What is your dream Wi-Fi layout? What SSIDs do you have? How many do you have? What are they for? What are you using them?
So, my dream SSIDs, I think we have to discuss, what SSIDs are required. So, we have what I would like to have, which right now my environment is not my dream environment. So, we're getting there.
Okay.
But what I would really like to have, the first SSID is going to be something along the lines of something specifically for the technology department, control, or maybe another one for control, whether that's IoT devices, security devices if they do go wireless, and that is a hidden SSID. Now, let's be honest, hidden SSID isn't anything crazy, but any students or threat actors who don't know how to search for a hidden SSID, it's just a preventative measure. We know it's there. If the kid or if the student or somebody knows how to search for it, then good for them. But that's just first thing is I would have a hidden SSID. And then I've been kind of torn whether having two separate SSIDs, one for staff and one for students.
Okay.
I understand the need, rather than just one SSID and then having it authenticate on maybe like Radius or some type of AD authentication, and then that's how they get their privileges.
Okay.
But I've been kind of fighting that and trying to, really understand, the environment that I'm in. Who's bringing devices? Do I want them to bring in their own device? What type of security do I want to give them when they're connecting their device or the district's device? And so I've been really torn about creating like a BYOD or creating a staff or creating a student. And so I think something along the lines of having in-district SSID. So these are district devices that are most likely our image under our domain. We have full control over. And then having another SSID for a BYOD and restricting that access. Exactly how I do that, I'm torn. I'm still learning my environment, still trying to figure out what's best. And I don't think there is a end all answer for any of those, to be honest. But how about you? I know you have a pretty extensive SSID listing
there.
And what about you?
So so in my current layout, my current configuration, I have a student devices, I have a faculty devices. So when I say student devices, faculty devices, these are district owned and managed devices. They are not personal devices. Student district devices, faculty district devices, they're on separate networks right now. And then I have a BYOD. That's for anyone, student, faculty, doesn't matter who you are. BYOD. And then I have what else do I have? I have a technology one. And
so let me ask
guest
you.
One.
And a guest. Okay, so you have a dedicated guest one.
Yes.
Is there any authentication on your guest one? Other than like the WPA2 password?
I'm going to be honest with you, WPA2 password.
WPA, okay.
But,
do you have it timed? Is there like a time session that you have on there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is so. I originally made my student and faculty Wi-Fi networks separate Wi-Fi networks because the way I was doing content filtering
Okay.
in the back end, I was I needed to be able to say this network gets this. I wasn't able to do it on a per user basis.
Got it.
On my old content filter, I've since upgraded to a content filter that can do it on a per user basis, device agnostic. Because before it was only able to do it on my Windows devices.
Okay.
Follow what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
Because it would take the AD credentials.
yes,
and,
exactly. So, but now on my new content filter, it doesn't matter what the device is. It can determine who the user is and apply the filter to that. So I don't know that I necessarily need one set to keep my student devices and my faculty devices separate. You could argue that there's some security benefits there if they're not talking to each other, but those two networks are able to route to each other anyway.
Okay.
So I probably could combine those and get
Okay.
and just say Hawthorne, Hawthorne
Devices.
devices, whatever it is, and just combine that. I have a BYOD, and my BYOD does configure radius, so you get a splash page after you authenticate with your AD credentials. You get a splash page that says, "Hey, you're on the BYOD. Remember that you have to agree to all of our policies, connect to the internet, and then you're on our internet." That is not routing to my network. That is literally natting and going right out, authenticating, applying your content filter settings. So you are hitting my content filter, but then you're going out. You're not touching my network, and we don't support any BYOD devices touching any network resources right now. It's just we have a policy. You bring it in your own computer. You can't print on our network. You can't access your drive shares on our network. Your computer is your computer. We'll give you internet, but that's where it ends.
Why do you do that? I mean, I know the answer. I'm asking for a friend. No.
Asking for a friend. Well, I do it because bottom line is I can't control that device in terms of its antivirus. I can do an antivirus check, but what happens if you turn it off after you've connected? I can't control what you're plugging into that computer. I can't control what files exist on that computer. I have no insight into that device. So to bring that device onto my network, my core network, that's scary. And you're doing that, hundreds and hundreds of times a day. Figure you have so many users, BYO, bringing devices in. So
What about? So let me ask here. What about if a faculty member has a cool new device that they can use in the classroom, but they need to be able to communicate with whether their desktop or the student devices or something along those lines. Can and will you do exceptions to the rule, and how far does that really go?
So when you're talking about bringing in a device and using it, that's like, what are you talking about? Like an Amazon Alexa, or just like a home iPad kind of a?
Just like I don't. I'll just use a random example. Let's say I have a mobile device that has a cool app that I can push out content to all the Chromebooks,
Okay.
or something along the lines. But it
Okay.
can only be done. It's only currently available through like a specific device or an application that only runs on mobile or something along the lines like that.
Feel you. Number one is it's got to go to curriculum first.
Okay. Wow.
Before even I'm touching it and I'm talking about it and I'm looking at it from a technical side, it's got to go to curriculum. Curriculum people have to look at that and they have to say, okay, is this really supporting our curriculum? Is this really something that we should be investing time and resources into figuring out how to work, or is this something that's not worth it based on what the curriculum says? So it's got to, they make that determination. I have nothing to do with that determination. If it's an app, if it's a device, if whatever it is, curriculum has to say, yes, it is valuable and we can implement it, or no, it is not valuable, we can't implement it.
So let's say curriculum says, yes, this is useful, but again, it's not yours. It doesn't belong to the district.
Okay.
It does not belong to you.
So curriculum says yes, then it comes down to the technical. And then that's where I got to review it and I got to say, okay, well, this doesn't meet our technical requirements. Just like you have, curriculum requirements, you have technical. So can this device be filtered? Can this device have the correct antivirus on it? Can we, if something were to happen, do we have the ability to shut down this device? If those answers are no, then the answer is no. Because while I have an obligation to support the technology integration in that classroom, I have an obligation to support the technology infrastructure for the entire district too, right? So I can't just worry about what. Not that I don't want to worry about. I can't worry about what one teacher is doing and put that as a precedence over my 200 other teachers district wide that are doing their instruction. I can't put ourselves in a position where we're risking 200 people just to try one thing, right?
Yeah, you don't want to compromise your network because you connected the device and there was a malicious, Trojan or something that was stored on there waiting to be connected to a juicy network. And with Wi-Fi 6, it will infiltrate even faster.
Exactly. So that's, that at the end of the day, my obligation is I have to take a look at it from a broad perspective. And that can be kind of hard for the teacher to understand sometimes, but, we do work with them. And I'm going to be honest, if it's something that I can afford and we can buy it and curriculum says okay, I'll get a device. And, really, the teacher shouldn't be using a personal device to do classroom instruction.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Got it.
But we've also had scenarios where we've gotten a set of devices that needed some very special arrangement of policy and whatever, and we've spun up a quick wireless network just for those devices, just to test, and and we'll put whatever security measures we need to put in place to make sure that we're still safe. But we've done that before. I've done that with my makerspace. There's a Wi-Fi network in my makerspace right now called Makerspace. And we have a couple devices that we're demoing. We're not really sure how they work with our network and how they interact with our devices, but we put them on their own isolated network, on their own, not touching anything else, and we're kind of experimenting. And if we determine
are they district-owned devices?
They are district-owned devices now because they were donated.
Okay.
So,
you have full control.
Yes. At the end of the day, I have full control of those devices.
All right, so I think this is not just a technical issue, but also, a personal or personnel issue. Is if you walk into a district where everybody just connects to the Wi-Fi, and that is just the norm. Everyone there's one Wi-Fi, and they connect, and that's it. They're connected, and they have access to everything and all the resources. That is a serious change that you have to go through, and I think that has to come from many layers of constant change and change in culture, really.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that's a culture thing.
Yeah.
And whenever you're talking about changing culture, it's not just a technology initiative. It's not just a technology problem. It's not just the technology people. Your administrators, your leadership, your lead teachers, the people that are going to implement that culture change all need to have a vested interest in that, and they need to understand the repercussions, of not going to that culture change. So in your example, everyone connects to the Wi-Fi, and that's great, right? Easy access. What are the risks? A lot of risks. A lot of risks there, right? And, excuse me, it's very important that administration really, you sit down with administration, you make them understand these risks, because at the end of the day, they're going to be looking at you to mitigate those risks or resolve the risks that have actually come to fruition. So you need to make sure that they are aware, and that everyone understands why you're saying it. I think that's the key, right? Is why am I saying something? I think people will often say one of the policies we put out there, one of the security measures that we put in place, is go, technology is just trying to limit us and this and that, and they don't understand that there's a bigger picture here. I put it to the example of, would you just open the front doors and let any student walk in, any kid walk in and educate them? No, there's a process. They have to go through registration. They have to meet with the counselor. Mom and dad come in. There's forms you have to fill out, because why? There's a risk. same thing with, on the technology end. You have to understand all the finite aspects of it before you can just say, let's do that or this.
But that's not my network, okay? I was just asking for a friend.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, tell your friend that if he's just letting anyone on the network,
It's a bad idea.
it's probably not a good idea.
Now, so what about to kind of sidetrack real quick, plugging in
What do you mean?
personal devices, people plugging in personal devices.
I can't.
Okay, so never mind. Skip, edit it out.
I mean, what did I just talk about?
I understand, but so are you disabling ports that aren't being used?
So, I mean, listen. The reality of it is that, yeah. I mean, I have ports disabled that are not being used. I wish I had more time in my day, and I wish I had more staff to look at that better. And you could do things like, where you sticky the Mac on the port so that if another device plugs in. There's security practices you can do. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not doing them. Should I be doing them? Probably, but I there's not enough time in the day to just manage that, right? So there is some level of risk in that exists plugging in, and you kind of have to manage the best you can.
But I get you. A lot of if people want to connect, they want to connect to the Wi-Fi. They don't want to be plugged in.
Yeah, and I mean the thing about it too is this: if someone is going to plug into your network and hack your network, if they have physical access, right, there's only so much you can do. But if they're smart enough to figure out, I'm going to plug this network wire into this port, I'm going to get on it, they're probably smart enough to figure out how to get around some of those basic security measures you have in place.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Very, very good topic. What between coronavirus affecting the technology industry, sorry, Wi-Fi 6 updates, and just some general information and kind of how to, maybe not exactly how to set up your SSIDs, but just some topics that we discussed, and what works best for your environment.
So I have a question for you, though.
Sure.
What are you doing for guest access? Because that is something I'm struggling with right now. I don't know the best way to give my guests access. And I'll tell you my problem. So I have a guest network, very limited in speed, WPA2 password. The secretaries in all my schools know that password. If a guest walks in the door, they're giving that password to the guest gets on. What do you care if your students are on your guest Wi-Fi? What are you doing to mitigate that? What do you have another way of authenticating a guest? What is your process?
So, being in the district I am now, this is something we have planned in the upcoming months. This is, something that we would probably use through. We have Meraki access points, so I will probably use something like, SSID that connects only to the internet, so obviously no internal networking traffic, and maybe make it only last for an hour or 2 hours, and then they have to re-acknowledge the splash page. I haven't really, in my opinion, gone deep dive as far as something as, I understand guests come in all the time, but my thoughts and time have been spent on how we're going to configure our internal ones. For the guest one, I think I would just do, a splash page, and every, let's just say 2 hours, there's no real guest presenting or doing anything for more than 2 hours, and they'll have to acknowledge after, every 2 hours, they'll have to acknowledge that I understand this is a guest Wi-Fi that was given to me, and I will follow, the AUP rules and et cetera, et cetera.
So I have an idea.
Sure. What's your idea?
And it just came to me now. Get rid of guest.
Okay.
So here's what I'm thinking, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but my thought is this: I'm a guest. I'm coming into the school. With school security going on and being such a big thing today, I'm not there just showing up. Someone has sponsored my visit to that school.
Sure.
right?
Sure.
I'm there for some reason.
Okay.
Okay. Do we say if you have a guest coming in, you log them on with your BYOD credentials? Now
You are responsible for that.
now
being.
you are responsible for that person.
That's good. Thanks. I'll steal that.
But hold on, there is a technical challenge there, which is guest leaves, guest comes back a week later, SSIDs and saved on the device.
Well, so I can only speak for the Meraki portal. In Meraki, you can have your BYOD only or authenticate for a X number of time, and then they have to re-authenticate. Do you or would you want to set something up like that?
I didn't know that existed. I again, just all came to me now. Yeah, something to look into.
It's a good idea.
Something to look into.
Again, this is why you have to come up with the plan and SSIDs that work for your district. So if you, the listener or viewer, have any suggestions, ideas, or thoughts about SSIDs and how they should be set up in a school, and maybe you have the best way and you have figured out every loophole in every scenario, please, I want to know. I'm asking for a friend.
No. Okay, enough of your friend. I think with that, let's wrap up this episode and call it a day for today. And let's see if we get any comments on this,
Sure.
and we'll revisit this again in the future.
Absolutely.
Good idea?
That's a good idea.
All right. So thanks everyone for tuning in. And remember, you can follow this weekly podcast on all the major podcasting platforms and on YouTube. We release our episodes every Tuesday. So if you'd like some more information about this episode, some future episodes, make sure you visit our website, www.techandedmedia.com. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Tech and Ed Media. And thanks for supporting this podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.